And welcome back, YouTube. This is Boosterbox Buster here with another video. The last few days have been quite the roller coaster ride if you live inside the United States of America. Of course, I'm talking about the recent United States presidential election that took place and all the uncertainty surrounding it. And honestly, my opinion, I think that there's going to be at least 2 months of uncertainty after this. So I'm expecting us not to know who the next president is until probably late December, maybe even early January 2021. Now, I'm not one that likes to talk about politics too much, but this has been weighing on my mind so much. I needed an outlet to talk about it. It's been bottled up inside me that I feel like I'm about ready to figuratively explode. I've been losing sleep over this. I needed to do so. I needed to just get my feelings and opinions and thoughts out there. That felt good. Okay. So with that said, in this video I'm going to talk about the remaining states that are currently up for grabs, potential legal battles, paths that both candidates can have to get to 270, and how my official prediction and opinion on how this is all going to end up. Like who will be president. This is going to be my prediction, please. Please let that be known. Everything I'm going to say is 100% prediction or opinion. None of this is official. Please keep that in mind. None of this is official. It's all predictions or opinions. I have to make that disclaimer just so everybody knows none of this is real. This is a lot of what ifs. This is a lot of maybes. This is a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, this is just not official. This is opinionated. With that said, I want to talk about first, where each candidate stands. Biden currently has 253, which is a very solid number, to Trump's 214, which is lagging behind a bit, but he could still get the number needed. Each candidate needs to get to 270, or I should say one candidate needs to get to 270 to take the White House. However, it's going to be marred with a bunch of legal battles for the losing side. Now, the first step I want to talk about is the the states that are up for grabs right now. I'm going to get the easy one out of the way. Alaska, I think Alaska's going to Trump. I'd be very surprised if Biden can pull out a win in Alaska. The next one is Arizona. Arizona, because of the way they count their votes, I believe they do a lot of their mail-in ballots first, and then they do in-person ballots. And because of that, Trump's catching up to Biden very fast, and he looks like he might overtake Biden in the state of Arizona. Yes, for those of you wondering, I am counting Arizona as the state that's up for grabs. The places that have called it already, I think, should, until more results come in, pull it off the board as an official one way or another. Let's go to Nevada. I'm pretty sure Biden has Nevada. I'd be very surprised if there's enough votes out there for Trump to take it. Nevada's usually pretty reliably blue. Not always, but Nevada's usually pretty blue. Let's talk about North Carolina. There's a lot of mail-in votes to be counted yet. I see North Carolina staying with Trump, but I think it's going to be by a pretty slim margin. potentially slim enough for the Biden team to trigger a recount if needed. Let's go. Let's talk about the two big ones in the room, though. First up, Georgia. Georgia's a coin flip. That's whoever wins that's going to win it by probably about 10,000 votes or less. It's going to be a very, very slim win for whoever wins it, and obviously that's going to trigger a recount from the losing team. And honestly, Georgia's just way too close to call at this point. Pennsylvania's the other one. Biden seems to be gaining quite a bit of ground in Pennsylvania. However, it seems like Trump's going to try to challenge all those mail-in votes that arrived after the election day. So that one, Pennsylvania might be decided in the court system at this time. All depends on how many of those votes arrived after election day. So my prediction is Nevada blue, or Nevada to Biden, Arizona to Trump, Alaska to Trump, Georgia coin flip, North Carolina to Trump, and Pennsylvania will await legal litigation before I can make an official opinion. Although if it were to just be the way it is now, I'd probably say to Biden. But like I said, you know that one's going to be challenged. The next thing I want to talk about is potential lawsuits and court cases that could end up in the Supreme Court and recounts that could also potentially happen. I think Nevada, unless it's really, really close, I think they're going to leave that alone. Whoever wins that will win it. Like I said, unless it's within like a few thousand votes, I don't think either candidate's really interested in doing a recount there. Arizona, unless that vote is close, like I said, I do predict Trump will take that. And the Biden team might fight that. If it's close, they'll probably trigger a recount. But if Trump all of a sudden slingshots ahead, Trump will probably take that one and take the 11 points to his side. Alaska, I think Alaska's going to go red. That'd be, like I said, I'd be very surprised. It's only 3 points, but 3 points could be the difference. Georgia, there's going to be a recount no matter who loses, no matter who wins. There's going to be a recount for the presidential and the Senate race there. On top of that, I would not be surprised if the losing team there tries to throw out a fair amount of votes. Trump will probably try to throw out a lot of mail-in ballots that arrived after the date. Biden obviously is going to try to fight to keep those in. There was potentially some water-damaged ballots. They said they still counted those. You know Trump is going to want to throw those out due to the pipe main burst that happened. Now, I don't know if those people that had those water-damaged ballots can re-vote or not, but I expect Georgia to be this year's 2000 Florida. I would not be surprised if Georgia's that close at the end of the day. North Carolina, if Biden pulls in close enough or potentially takes the lead, I could see a recount being done there as well. Although, if Trump keeps it and he maintains that particular lead he has now, I don't see any action being done in North Carolina. Pennsylvania is probably going to be the biggest item on the chopping block because if Biden wins that, he pretty much wins the election outright. So I expect the Trump team to fight that one tooth and nail. I expect Biden's team to fight against the Trump team tooth and nail, and honestly, that one could end up in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court could literally decide the fate of Pennsylvania. And if the 20 votes go one way or another because of the Supreme Court, I guarantee you that's going to cause a lot of civil unrest, and that's going to cause a lot of issues in America because of that. I also expect the Senate, at the very least, the Senate race in Michigan, to have potential legal challenges there. Once again, this is 100% hearsay. I heard that there was potential ballot stuffing there. So I guarantee a recount's going to happen there, at least for the Senate race, and potential legal action to try to throw out X amount of votes there. Michigan, they just say that Michigan is probably... I don't expect that to change, at least on the presidential level, but on the Senate level, that could potentially flip to the Republican there in a very, very hotly contested recount there. Wisconsin is another one that, from what I heard, there's going to be a recount on top of potential legal issues to try to throw out some votes there that may have arrived late. So I would not be surprised if Wisconsin, at the very, ends up in a very tough legal spot and is pulled from the decided board for a while. So with that said, those are some big issues that could potentially delay this election for a few months. And I imagine that each of those cases will be expedited all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to decide probably about 4 or 5 different cases there, and that's going to be just an absolute mess if that ends up there. With that said, I want to move to the path for victory for each side. If everything stays the way it is now, and Wisconsin and Michigan doesn't get flipped because of potential legal lawsuits. In order for Trump to win, he would need to take sling a shot back into Arizona and take that. Take Georgia, take Alaska, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. He'd need to do a near clean sweep of everything as the way it stands now to take the White House. Biden can win. In this case, Biden can win Nevada, and that's it in order for Trump to win with the way things currently stand. Biden, all he has to do is win Nevada and literally any other state, and he wins. Or he could even lose Nevada as it stands now and just win Pennsylvania and take home over 270 electoral votes. So the path for Biden is much, much easier than the path for Trump here, obviously. Trump can only lose Nevada or Georgia. One or the other, not both. Or Arizona. He can lose one of those 3 states in order to win. Well, I guess he could lose North Carolina, but if he loses North Carolina, it's done for him anyway. Biden, like I said, Biden, all he has to do is win Nevada and any remaining state. And he's in, or even lose Nevada and just win Pennsylvania. So, obviously, Biden has a much easier chance to get to the White House. Now, there is a way that this could end in a tie, but that's highly, highly unlikely. I'm talking about 0.01% chance of that happening. Although I do want to explain to you how this could end up in a tie. So this would happen, or this would have to happen, and like I said, this is not going to happen, but the possibility exists. Trump takes Arizona, takes Nevada, which is probably not going to happen, North Carolina, Alaska, and wins Pennsylvania in the courts. Biden outright wins Georgia in a recount. That triggers a 269 to 269 tie. That would be the absolute worst thing for this nation. Nobody wants that to end in a tie, especially through legal challenges. That would just be utter chaos, and, well, like I said, nobody wants that to end in a tie. So yeah, that's some of my predictions there. Please note this is 100% prediction, not actually going to happen. And so here's what I think is going to happen at the end of the day. This is my prediction as to what I think is actually going to happen. Final, what's going to happen. Trump wins Arizona. Trump wins Alaska. Biden wins Nevada. Trump wins North Carolina. Trump wins Georgia in a recount with some votes thrown out because they arrived late. Biden wins Pennsylvania. With that Pennsylvania win, Trump loses the battle in Michigan that he will file a lawsuit for. Trump barely loses Wisconsin after he successfully throws out some votes. Pennsylvania, Biden will win by the skin of his teeth, triggering a recount after they take it to the courts. And Biden will still win Pennsylvania. So with that prediction, Biden would become the next president of the United States. I think it's going to be very hotly contested. There's going to be a lot of legal challenges. But I think Biden will prevail. But because of Pennsylvania, Biden will win with Pennsylvania. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of legal challenges. I could be wrong. But that's my prediction as to what's going to happen. Trump's going to win a lot of the states down here. North Carolina, Georgia, in a recount that he successfully gets votes thrown out in. Alaska, Arizona, Biden wins Nevada, and he still maintains a win in Pennsylvania after a potential successful challenge that will go all the way up to the Supreme Court. And Trump's going to be successful in throwing out some votes in Wisconsin, but it won't be enough to overtake the Biden lead there. So my prediction, Biden wins the presidency of the United States in a hotly contested legal action battle. Please note, this is not official. This is just 100% my opinion. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this situation in the comments down below. Please keep it civil. Do not attack one another in the comments. Please keep it civil. If things get out of hand, I'm going to disable comments. But if we can keep a civil conversation going, that would be great. With all that said, this has been Booster Back Buster, talking about politics, and I'm signing out. Peace.